Sometimes when I'm in my man cave, I can sit for hours just shifting plastic around, looking for inspiration. Cue those titles, this may take a while. So I delved back into my many bit boxes and found this tripod. I've had this for ages, maybe this might just do the trick. So what do we have here? A remote that somehow is supposed to connect to your phone. For €2, doubtful. But still, it's a cool greebly. Now these legs, these are giving me good vibes. Maybe I should make some kind of walker with these. I just need to work out which bits to take off and what to use. Now these legs, these are kind of okay, but everybody's going to know the tripod legs. Let me get my knife and I'm going to chop this foam off these legs. Grabbing my X-Acto knife, I start a little bit of surgery until I reach for my trusted little pliers and start chopping away at this foam. It took a while, but I now have legs, or rather wires. I take the little caps off the bottom of the legs just like that, and that exposes them, so it's down to its bare minimum. Like my old man used to say, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's chop these buggers off. Well, it's too late now if I wanted to put them back on. There was no stopping me with this carnage and rampage of me pulling apart everything of this tripod. I'm now hacksawing the top off. For no other reason than I can. Now comes the reconstruction. So these little rubber bits, I'm going to just try and make a hole in them and slot them back up so you don't see the joint, just like that. There we go, just like that. I grabbed some pen lids, chop them down, and I'm going to use them as the base for the feet. I'll use some beads as the knee joints, and then grab some cocktail sticks that your mum and dad used in the 70s for their cheese and wine parties, to then promptly put them to one side and use them later on, because whatever I was thinking of here was a non-starter. I think I was going to use these as like tiny toes, but then realised it was too fiddly and looked ridiculous. Come on Aaron, it's time to think about what's going to go onto these legs. Step away from the tiny toes now. Step away from the tiny toes. I did eventually step away from the tiny toes and grab this Warhammer Sentinel. Now, if memory serves me correct, I've already had my monkey fingers in this kit for Greeblies, so whatever is left, I'm going to make something out of it. Having a little look, it looks like I only took out the shooters for another model, which means I can pretty much make this kit up. I struggled for what seemed like ages with all these little tiny fiddly bits, but managed to get a pilot inside the Sentinel. And then, reverting to the destructions for once, I managed to get most of the kit together. I found some cool little cogs that for no other purpose other than existing are now part of this build, therefore have a major purpose. And while I mess around with the cog, it's subscriber shoutouts. On the screen are names of the subscribers who have left funny witty comments. Keep them coming. Every little helps and really helps with the channel and the YouTube algorithm. I know I sound vague, but I was trying to swallow a sweet then at the same time. Mental note to self, don't try and eat and do a voiceover at the same time. I make lots of executive decisions in lots of my builds, and this was one of them because I'd been messing about with this cog for ages and was going to bin it eventually, but then realised no, put it underneath the build and put the base on top. Therefore, we have a platform to put the Sentinel. Genius. I use one of the doodads just to raise up the vehicle and give it a slight sort of slanty look. Some plasterer's tape goes on the bottom and the top of the base. And then this is where the Sentinel differs from the actual artwork, because I'd also used some other little bits and pieces, so now it's true kit bashing time. To hide the mismatch and cobbled together pieces, I grabbed some plasticard. My thinking here is the Sentinel was stolen by the Orcs, who then abandoned it, and now the Astra Militarum guys have reclaimed it back. Come on people, you've got to work with me here. So what I'm doing now is just cutting the plasticard into chunks of mismatched squares and sticking them onto the base. For the bullet holes, I just used my X-Acto knife just to make some holes. And then using the cocktail sticks I discarded earlier, I'm going to add these as some sort of like pistons or something like that. The bits I chopped off the tripod legs are now going to get reattached to just there basically. Me thinks it needs a big cannon, so the insides of a Nerf gun come in handy. And this is pretty much how the Sentinel Walker will look. And look, it can swivel. Oh yes, I thought about that one as well. So it's on the spinny table to be taken outside to be primed. While it was drying, I figured I'd make a base for the walker, so I grabbed some XPS foam and start whittling away at it. Why am I carving into the XPS foam, I don't hear you ask. I found a little resin that's probably gone off by now, but thought I'd try a resin pour for once. I smother the foam in lots of Mod Podge just to try and seal it. While it's still tacky, I get some railway scatter coal and throw that onto the base. While the base slowly dries, I paint the walker using Vallejo paints. I do my usual trick of spraying everything with a metallic paint first. Whoops, steady there tiger. My attention span is that of a fly, and I make my way back to the base, which is now fully dried. And also because I may have forgotten to record some of my painting process for the Sentinel. All these years of YouTuber and still getting it wrong. So I just paint the base. Oh no, look! I didn't forget to record it. I just edited this video all out of sequence. What I didn't forget is the code word. Put this in your comments so I know you're a watcher and not a peeper, and the code word is Big Gun. Please also like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So it's time to paint the big gun green. Oh, okay, green it is. And then I grab some of that fancy colour changing paint from Vallejo just to paint the Sentinel walker. Well, the Sentinel, not the actual walker bit, because that's blue. Oh, you get the idea. The paint didn't take very well to this this metal bit, so I think I can get away with a bit of chipping here, which has cost me nothing. And yes, there we are. Time to glue the legs onto the base. And now the scary bit. I'm going to use some hot glue and then attach some acrylic to the bit of hot glue. Once that is done and all acryliced up, I'm going to put it on a tray because I do not trust myself, and start the mix. Now this is a 1:1 ratio mixture and there's not a lot left, and it doesn't look like it's going to set. But hey, look, in for a penny, in for a pound. Oh, I've said that already once. So I'm just going to throw all this in and give it a good mix, and mix in a little bit of green to give it that swampy sort of look. This is very doubtful that it's going to work out, but hey, look, you know, if you don't try, you don't do. Whatever. So yeah, so just give that a good stir for at least 5 minutes, and then I just slowly pour it into the base, hoping that it doesn't leak. I use a firelighter to pop any bubbles coming to the surface, being aware that this could melt the XPS foam at any time and probably set off a chain reaction in burning the man cave down too. Wow, that is too much pressure for one man, and so I'll just gently try and get these bubbles. Yeah, just leave it alone now, Aaron. Recommended drying time is around 24 hours. I leave it for 48. Well, actually I forget about it. So back to the Sentinel. I'm still doing a little bit of scraping off the paint just to give it some sort of scrapey effect. I honestly, I'm just waiting for this resin to see if it's either going to pour out from the sides or actually set. So it was day 4 by the time I remembered. This was still in the casting, so let's see if it's worked. Yeah, there's a few air bubbles, but that's to be expected when you forget about your resin pour. So here goes. On the plus side, it didn't leak. On the bad side, I can't take this acrylic off. But brute force and ignorance wins the day eventually. Well, God, here we go. I'll tell you what. I'll do a quick montage of this and zap onto the, watch my fingers before I cut them, and zap onto the glamour shots. So all that's left for me to say is thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that YouTubery stuff. As I said, glamour shots are next, so all that's left for me to say is keep scratching that build, everybody. Thanks for watching.